Hello students, today we are going to discuss a very good topic, blood relations. As you all know, this topic is going to be very important for you in all the competitive examinations or any entrance examinations. If you know the basics of this particular topic, or if you know the rules how exactly we need to proceed to find out our answers, when it comes to the questions, it is going to be very easy for you to identify your answers. So there are three different models in this particular topic. One is individual and paragraph questions, and the second one is based on the photographs questions, which is going to be a very crucial for you. It is initially going to be a bit of confusing. I must say it is going to give you a very hard time in the beginning until and unless you are not thorough with your basics. But once you are done with your basics, then that particular second one based on the photographs is also going to be very easy for you. And we also have shortcut to identify your answer when it comes to the photographs. So, and the third model is coded relations. What do you mean by a coded relation? A coded relation is nothing but is going to give you some symbols and ask you to convert into the blood relations. Third model is going to be very simple if at all you are doing your first model thoroughly. Okay, now before moving on to the model number 1, 2 and 3, I have to teach you the basics of blood relations. What are the important keywords and as well as what are the rules you are supposed to follow, because when it comes to your mother tongue, we do have a lot of relations, we do have a lot of variety of keywords, but when it comes to the subject, especially in English, we have got a certain points. You have to keep it in your mind, and then only you can proceed with the relation. So without wasting our time, let us observe the basics of blood relations. Now when I say blood relations, the first and foremost important people on this planet that comes into your mind is definitely your parents. Am I correct? It's definitely your parents. Now parents include both your mother and as well as your father, correct? I'm just trying to give you the information based on their generations. You try to observe here, your parents actually belongs to your generation or your previous generation. Definitely your previous generation. Your parents include both your mother and as well as your father. In the parents generation, we have some other people, but we are never going to address them, we are never going to call them as our parents. We are going to call them as what? Your aunt and as well as uncle. Now these two people are also going to stay in the same generation of your parents. Am I correct? Now whom do you call aunt and whom do you call uncle? This is what you need to learn from this particular topic. Now please observe here, your mother's sister, younger one or older one, whatever it is, you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about whether the person is the younger one or the older one. Whoever it is, your mother's sister is going to be called as your aunt. But when it comes to your mother tongue, whatever your mother tongue it is, you do have a different set of keywords. If at all a person is younger, you have a different keyword. If a person is older than your mother, you have a different keyword. But when it comes to the subject, yes, very clearly your mother's sister is definitely going to be your aunt, and as well as your father's sister is also going to be your aunt. Right, now whom do we call uncle? It is your mother's brother. Do not worry about in this entire topic whether the person is elder one or the younger one. Your mother's brother is also your uncle and your father's brother is also your uncle. So how do we represent this information? How do you remember this information? Then I have to say they are siblings of parents. What is it I have to mention here? They are siblings of your parent. Now please remember this sibling keyword for a long period, because sibling is a keyword. If at all it is used by your examiner, definitely your examiner tries to confuse you by using the sibling keyword. You know why? If I use the sibling keyword, it is impossible for you to identify the gender. If I say I have two sisters, or if I say I have two brothers, then immediately you can identify that I am trying to speak about my brothers or sister or male or female, correct? But when I use a keyword saying that I have two siblings, it is impossible to identify the gender what I am trying to convey here. It could be both male or both female or a male and female. That is why sibling keyword is definitely given by your examiner or used by your examiner in order to confuse you. So please make sure you remember this keyword. Both of them belongs to our previous generation. Am I correct? Both of them belongs to our previous generation. Now I have to say, after our previous generation, it is all about our generation. Now in our generation, who is the most important persons? Obviously it is your siblings, correct? Now just now I have mentioned, whom do we call siblings? Either your sister or your brother is going to be called as what? Your siblings. Am I correct? Now in our generation, apart from our siblings, we have some other people, and who are they? They are your cousins. What do we call cousin? They are children of your aunt and as well as uncle. This is what you are supposed to remember. Remember, when I use a keyword called sibling, it is impossible for you to identify the gender. But when I use a keyword called cousin, I don't have to bother about the gender. It could be anyone, but end of the day, my answer is going to stay as what? Cousin. So what is that I want to say here is, your aunt's son or daughter, whoever it is, your answer becomes what? Cousin. And your uncle's son or daughter, your answer becomes what? Cousin. So this is the way we are supposed to remember our relations. Now if you closely observe, I am trying to categorize the relations based on our generations. You are also supposed to remember in the same way, so that as soon as you see that particular keyword in your exam or while practicing from any given question, immediately you are supposed to recall where exactly this person is going to fit, whether this person is going to stay in our generation or in our previous generation. That is the way you need to analyze over here. Let us move forward with our next generation persons. They are your niece and as well as your nephew. And in examination you are going to see a maximum of 3 generations. While using niece and nephew only, you are supposed to crack the given question, so that it is going to be very easy for you to identify your answer. Correct? Now please do remember, here comes the rule number 1. Never convert them into your mother tongue. Whatever your mother tongue it is, I don't have to worry about, or you don't have to worry about it. Whatever your mother tongue is, never try to convert into mother tongue. See, immediately you may have this doubt, sir, why are you asking me not to convert into mother tongue, which is very easy for me, which is clearly going to understand the question? No, that is completely false information. You know why? Because when you convert into mother tongue, male are going to receive a different answer and females are going to receive a different answers. That is why we are never going to convert into our mother tongue. So please do remember, this topic clearly says niece is nothing but your sibling's daughter. This is the way you need to remember. It's nothing but what? Your sibling's daughter. Your sibling's daughter is nothing but your niece. Please do remember this information for a long period. Your sibling's daughter. Now sibling include both your sister and as well as brother. So your sister's daughter is also your niece and your brother's daughter is also your niece. Whatever gender you are, whether you are male or female, it doesn't matter. Ultimately we are supposed to get only one particular answer. So that is why niece is going to be called as what? Sibling's daughter. And who is the next person we have got over here? It is nephew. So now can I say it as sibling's son? Am I correct? Yes. Sibling's son is going to be your nephew. Correct? Again, I'm clearly saying whether you are male or female, it doesn't matter. End of the day, every person, whoever writing the exam, should get a particular answer. You cannot have different answers, so that we are all going to end up in meeting in a court to figure out whose answer is correct. So that is why we are never going to fall for that particular trap. So nephew is definitely your sibling son. Your brother's son is also your nephew, and your sister's son is also going to be called as what? Nephew. If you convert into mother tongue, again we are going to receive a different answers. That is why rule number 1 clearly says never convert into your mother tongue. Please do remember one information which I am going to say now. Even though I am saying you not to convert into mother tongue, you are going to commit the same mistake again and again. You know why? Because we are much more habituated from our childhood. Maybe from the past 20 years or 18 years, we got habituated with our childhood information how exactly you are supposed to go with the blood relations. That is why it is very crucial that you should have a strong basics, so that only your mother tongue influence is going to be very slowly, it is going to be degraded. Okay, please do remember. Now let us move forward to the next information which I want to tell you is the most important person on this planet, the most dangerous person on this planet is nothing but your spouse. Correct? Now please do remember, earlier we have discussed the relation of our own blood relation, but now we are going to discuss the relation which occurs to us through system of marriage. Okay, now your spouse could be either wife or husband, it could be anyone. But examiner is using a keyword called spouse. How do you understand the person is wife or husband in the question? Very simple. If the subject, you know what I mean by subject? The person who is speaking, that is your speaker or your subject. Imagine you have got a very clear idea that the subject is a male and he says my spouse. Immediately you need to understand that he is talking about his wife. But if your subject is a female and she says my spouse, immediately you need to understand she is talking about her husband. You cannot just question it, how do you got this information? No, please remember rule number 2. Male and male, female and female cannot get married to each other in the topic. Outside it is your wish, I don't have any problem. Now apart from these persons, we do have one more relation. You know what is that relation we have got over here? They are nothing but your in-laws. Then I have to mention them. Now in-laws are also going to be part of your life through system of marriage. They are not your own blood relations. Now any person is related to you through system of marriage is going to be called as what? In-law. Now let us categorize these persons are also based on the what? Generation only. Now let us go with the first person. You know who is the first person I have got here? I have to say it is mother-in-law. Now mother-in-law is nothing but your spouse mother. Your spouse mother. For both male and as well as female, this information is applicable. Your spouse mother is going to be called as what? Your mother-in-law. Am I clear? Right. Next person in the same generation we have got here, and who is that person? Father-in-law. So can I say it as your spouse father? Yes. Now these two actually belongs to your previous generation, correct? Mother-in-law and as well as your father-in-law, correct? Let us move forward with the next generation persons we have got over here. And who is it? Yes, your sister-in-law. Please do remember, whom do you call sister-in-law? It's not only your spouse sister as well as your brother's wife. Your brother's wife is also going to be called as what? Sister-in-law, because she is also not part of your family. She is also entering into your family through system of marriage. That is why we have two possibilities saying that spouse sister and as well as brother's wife. These two information you are supposed to remember when a keyword sister-in-law is appearing in your question. Let us see another important persons in the same generation. See, as I am saying you, mother-in-law and father-in-law belongs to your previous generation. Now we are discussing about who are the persons who actually stays in our generation. So sister-in-law is finished. Now let us observe who? Your brother-in-law. When it comes to brother-in-law, I can consider it as what? Spouse, brother, and as well as your what? Exactly, your sister's husband is going to be your brother-in-law. Am I clear? Two possibilities. This is where you are supposed to be very careful in examination. As soon as these keywords are appearing, you always go with the only spouse sister or only brother's wife. No, you have to keep both the information clearly. It could be either your spouse sister or your brother's wife. In the same way, your spouse brother or sister's husband. Right now, let us move forward to the next generation. And who are the next generation persons? Now let us observe. It is your daughter-in-law. Whom do you call daughter-in-law? They are next generation persons, correct? Your son's wife is going to be your daughter-in-law. And last but not the least, it's your son-in-law. Now whom do we call son-in-law? Your daughter's husband is going to be your what? Son-in-law. Relations, whatever relations I am mentioning over here, it is actually your in-laws, persons related to you through system of marriage, and this is your spouse. Am I clear? After becoming an adult, the most important person in your life, the best companion of life is your spouse. Now how exactly this person is entering into your life and destroying your life? I mean, they are your best person, best companion in your life according to the subject. So please, these are all nothing but your what? Relations occurred through system of marriage. But when it comes to the previous information, then I have to say these relations are actually your own blood relations. Am I clear? Now let's observe the missing relations we have got here. As of now, we have seen our own blood relations and as well as the relations which occur to us through system of marriage. Now let us also observe what are the relations we have got here. They are nothing but your grandparents. Now you know it very well, grandparents are going to occur to us from our both the sides, from your mother side and as well as from your father side. But first of all, tell me, grandparents include both your grandmother and as well as grandfather. Am I correct? But as we discussed just now very clearly, these relations are going to happen to us from both the sides, from your mother side and as well as from your father side. Now if I ask you, how is your grandmother, how is your aunt, how is your grandfather, how is your uncle, then immediately you are not going to take it for granted that I am trying to ask you from your father side relation only. No, you cannot take it for granted. Then you are supposed to ask me a question, sir, whether you are talking about maternal or paternal. These two keywords you are going to understand over here. Now maternal side relations are all going to be occur to us from our mother side, and paternal, it is obviously from your father side. Am I clear? Right. Now M and M is always going to have that matching. In case you got any confusion in future also, whether maternal side is from your mother side or from your father side, immediately you can recall the shortcut. M and M is going to match with each other. Now please understand one important information over here. Your examiner may not use these keywords. He simply going to give you a question, how is your grandfather or how is your grandmother, then immediately you are supposed to apply both the possibilities to figure out what is your exact answer. Am I clear? Right. Now here comes the rule number 3. Please do remember the rule number 3. Rule number 1 was what? Very clearly, do not convert into your mother tongue. Rule number 2 is male and female cannot get married to each other. And rule number 3, here it is clearly going to say, do not apply yourself in the question. Again, you might be having a doubt, sir, imagining myself in the question is going to be very easy for me. I can understand my question better. I can solve it very easily. No, that's also completely a false information, because we are never going to have a clear information about our speaker in the question, whether the speaker is male or female. Sometimes you may have that information, but most of the cases that information is always going to be skipped by your examiner. Then immediately you will try to place yourself and you will understand the question according to your own gender. That is why we are not allowed to place ourselves in the question, because obviously when I am a male, I will try to understand the relation according to that particular point of view only. And when the question is reading by a female, obviously she is also going to understand the question from her point of view only. That is why please understand, gender information is also very important for us over here. Gender information, there are only 2 genders, that is male and as well as female. Now the representation is also very important over here. How do you represent male and female? By writing M or F? No. We always use the mathematical symbols in order to represent what exactly the information of that particular person's gender. And please remember, if you got that clarity, if at all you are very certain regarding that person's gender, then only apply these symbols. And sometimes your examiner may use a keyword called my and as well as I. Those are universal keywords. You cannot define the gender, correct? That is why you better use this symbol. This symbol is actually going to give you a clear information, or you are giving yourself a hint in your exam that I do not have any clarity on the gender of that particular person in the question. You are making yourself very clear in the exam or while practicing yourself. This particular symbol is always going to resemble what? We do not have any clarity about our speaker's gender in the question. When you are very certain, when you are 100% confident what is the gender of the speaker, if it is male, use this one. If it is female, use this symbol. But please do remember here, no person in your question is not allowed to go without a symbol. Please do remember that information. All the relations, whatever relations we have seen as of now, how do we solve all the 3 different models? By imagination? No. Imagination is certainly not going to work in the examination, and it is going to be a very lengthy process if at all you go with your imagination. That is why there is a tree procedure over here, or you can say it as by using a flowchart procedure, you can figure out your answers very easily. So whatever relations we have seen as of now is actually categorized into 4 particular relations only. All the persons are going to fall under those 4 categories only. Now, what are the 4 categories and how do we represent? Without your conscious, I've already prepared you for this particular information only. And here comes the category number 1, that is your parents category. Now tell me, your parents belongs to your generation or your previous generation? It is definitely your previous generation. Then we are going to use a apparel. Right? Now the next information you need to understand, next category is your children category. Now just tell me, how do you represent children? Definitely next generation. And the next category is your sibling category. Now tell me, your sibling belongs to definitely your generation, then use the side arrow. This is the way you always represent. And the most important category, the most dangerous person, the most powerful person on this planet is your spouse. But when it comes to the subject, it is better you always give them a equal to symbol. Equal to symbol always represents what? Your spouse. Again, we are not defining the gender. Now all all the relations we have seen, your mother-in-law, father-in-law, sister-in-law, brother-in-law, whatever it is, okay, uncle, aunt, your cousins, all of them, your grandparents, your grandchildren, everybody is going to fall under these 4 categories only. They are never going to escape from these 4 categories. Initially it is going to be a bit of confusing, but I am not saying it as hard. When you have very strong basics, when you practice well, obviously they are very simple for you, okay. Or these 4 categories are going to be there throughout our session. We understood the basics. Now we also understood 3 important rules. Am I correct? Now you should also be aware of the keywords. What are the keywords? You know, there are 6 important keywords: and, is, but, who, which, whose. Remember, these are very important keywords you are always going to observe in the reasoning. Not in blood relation, in the entire topic of reasoning, in blood relation, seating arrangement, puzzles, sometimes in directions, you are going to see these particular keywords. Once you understood these keywords, then immediately you can start doing your questions. Now let me teach you how exactly these are going to give you a false information, or how they are going to manipulate you. They appear to be very simple, but believe me, they are not. They are going to take away your marks in your examination if at all you are not good with your particular keywords. Now let me give you a small example. Please try to understand that example thoroughly, okay. Now by using those particular 6 keywords, I am going to frame a question over here. Now for an example, if I say A is brother of B and is father of C, comma, who is daughter of D, how is A related to D, B related to D, and C related to D. Okay, now please remember, there's a small question given over here, but believe me, this question is going to give you a complete information regarding all the 6 keywords. Now observe here, A is brother of B. You got a very clear information that A became the brother of whom? B. When A became the brother, I can confirm the gender of A as male. Do you accept? Yes, because he became the brother. When A became the brother, I can confirm the gender of A as male without having any doubt. Now he became brother for whom? B. So both A and B are going to stay in the same generation. A and B are going to stay in the same generation. Then I will always use a single line. I don't have to place this arrow mark. You can just observe a simple line is always going to give us a clear information they are going to stay in the same generation. But as of now, I do not have any idea regarding what is the gender of B. It could be either male or female. Let us move forward into the question and try to figure it out what is the gender. But please do remember, due to lack of information, due to lack of knowledge regarding those keywords, you may go wrong, or you may understood this question completely wrong. Now please observe, after this comma you got and is father of C. Please do remember, whenever you come across a keyword called and, is, but, after these 3 keywords, whatever information given by your examiner over here, it is not going to be reflected to the second person. It is actually giving you information regarding the first person. Please do remember, it is a continuation of sentence. You are not going to understand B is the father of C, so obviously B became male. No, never try to understand in that way. Am I clear? Now A became the father of C. That is what it is clearly saying. Now when A became the father of C, please understand, A's gender is already a male. Now he became the father. Earlier he was what? Brother of B. Now he became father for whom? C. Still you are having any confusion whenever you see the keyword called and, is, but, try to figure it out who is the first person in the line and place that person over here and read your sentence. Now if I read my sentence, it becomes what? A is the father of C. When A became the father, okay, for whom? C. Now I do not have any information regarding B and C's gender. Now please observe this who, which and whose. Please do remember whatever keyword it is observed over here, I wrote only who, but you should also understand along with who, which and whose, all those keywords are given in order to confuse you only. So that is why this is always reflecting to the adjacent person only. All those three keywords are reflecting to whom? Adjacent person only. It is better you remove those keywords. You don't have to read those keywords. You just remove those keywords and read your sentence. Then immediately you are going to have the clarity about that particular line. Now I will never read it as C, who is the daughter of D. No. If I remove that keyword, what is it going to be? C is daughter of D. Am I clear? Now C became what? Daughter. Can I confirm the gender of C as a female? Because C became what? Daughter. Now closely observe, C became daughter for A, and now C is also becoming daughter for whom? D. One particular person is becoming daughter for both the persons A and D. Then what is the relation in between A and D? Yes, definitely you need to understand their wife and husband. Do not say it as spouse. We are going to say it as spouse when the information is not known about a particular person. Yes, I know that very clearly. In the line, your examiner is never going to reveal what is the gender of D. But my rule number 2 states that male and male, female and female cannot get married to each other, and you already knew this. A is a male. When A got married to D, can I recall or can I say it for sure that D is a female? Yes. Even though my examiner is not giving any information regarding D's gender, we can confirm the gender of D by using the rule number 2. I told you it appeared to be very funny or silly, but that exact rule always helps us to find out the gender in the particular question, even it is missing in the line. Am I clear? Now, after finishing our entire question, this is the way you are supposed to form. Okay, A became the brother for whom? B. A became the father for whom? C. C also became a daughter of whom? D. Then immediately I understood A and D are wife and husband. Now after finishing our entire question also, is it possible for us to identify the gender of B? No. When you do not have any clarity about any person, do not leave it unattempted. Always use this symbol. That symbol is going to indicate we are not sure about the gender of B. Now solving is very easy for us. Once you practice, yes, you are going to understand. But please observe here, understanding the question is very important. How is A related to D? Always remember, the question says how is A related to D? Understand the question from your right side person point of view, not from the left side person point of view. Please make sure you always go from your right side, not from the left side. And the most important information I need to tell you here, if at all you are not understanding the question, instead of going from your right side, if at all you went with the left side, obviously you end up with the wrong answer. Okay, this is a two-way around relationship you are going to see in the blood relation. See, for an example, if I say the relation from the D's point of view is what? A here, let us see. D is going to say A as what? Always understand, attack it from the backwards. Okay, right now D is going to call A as what? It is definitely, answer is what? Husband. Am I correct? Answer is what? Husband is your answer. But imagine you misunderstood the question and you understood the question from A's point of view. A is going to address D as what? Wife, and that is going to be stay in the first option, so that you are going to miss your mark. So it's always two-way around. If you do not understand the question properly, how to approach the question is very important. Even though you have strong basics, even though you know all the 6 keywords, okay, but you do not know how exactly to approach the question, then it's all waste of time. So better understand the question properly over here. Now, how is A related to C? I want to tell how is A related to C. Now tell me, A to C or C to A? I'm just going to say this for each and every question. You are supposed to memorize it as well, okay? A to C or C to A? It is definitely from the, how is A related to D is finished. It is next B related to D. Let's see, B to D or D to B? Please tell me, B to D or D to B? Yes, it is always from the D's point of view. D is going to call B as what? Do we have any clarity on the B's gender? B's gender is unknown for us. It could be either male or female. That is why our answer becomes what? Sister-in-law or brother-in-law. I mean, either sister-in-law or brother-in-law becomes your answer, because D's husband is A. If at all imagine B is a female, answer becomes sister-in-law. If B is a male, your answer becomes what? Brother-in-law. But do we have any clarity on B's gender? No. But when you go from the B's point of view, your answer is what? Definitely sister-in-law. Even though you do not have any clarity about B's gender, this person B is going to call D as what? Your brother's wife is definitely your answer is what? Sister-in-law. Am I clear? Now the last one. How is C related to D? Now tell me, from whose point of view you are going to understand this question? C to D or D to C? It is definitely from the D's point of view. D is going to call C as what? Now your answer becomes what? Daughter. Am I clear? Yes. But imagine again you misunderstood the question and you went from the left side person's point of view, that C to D, what you are going to call from C to D, your answer becomes what? Mother. So I'm saying you very clearly, it is a two-way around relationship. And if you misunderstood the question, that option is going to be there in the first option only. In case you do not see that option after solving your question, then you will recall, yes, I have done some mistake. Instead of going from my right side, I went from my left side. Then you are going to change your answer. But tell me, if at all the wrong answer stays in the option number 1, obviously you are going to choose the wrong one. So please better make sure you understand the question thoroughly, that you are supposed to come from your right side person's point of view. Now, as I'm saying, these are the 3 important keywords: and, is, but, and another 3 important keywords: who, which, whose. And, is, but always refers to the first person in the question. Who, which, whose refers to the adjacent person in the question. Am I clear? Now, these are the basics of your blood relations. There are some other basics I am going to teach you while teaching you the questions. Okay, don't worry. As of now, we understood the basics. The other basics we are going to carry with the questions.